A very good afternoon, dear students. I hope you all are safe at your place. I, Professor Sonal Agrawal, welcome you all on the digital platform of Agrawal Vidya Vihar English Medium College. This is the lecture for the subject Banking, Insurance and Financial Services. What we did in the last lecture, I just want to brief out in short that in the last lecture, we have started the topic that is the banker-customer spatial relationship. Here, before that, we have completed the banker-customer general relationship. In the special relationship between the banker and customer, we started the topic that is the banker's lion. Here, lion is you can say the right of a creditor to retain the possession of the goods which is registered with the name of the debtor till the repayment of the due amount or till the repayment of the debt amount. So here, the lion is the right of creditor to retain the possession of goods of debtor. And when we are talking about the lion, so here the creditor is having the right to just to keep the possession of the goods. But when the creditor is the banker, in that situation, the banker is also having the right to sell the goods to recover the debt amount. Yeah? This thing we have discussed in the last lecture here. So the lion topic is covered in the last lecture. Now in the today's lecture, we are going to start with the topic that is the banker's right to charge the interest and commissions from the account of the customer. Here, after that, we are going to discuss the second thing or the third point of the topic that is the you can say bankers' obligations to honor the check which is presented by the customer. These two topics we are going to cover in the today's lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to start with the topic that is the banker's right to charge the interest and commissions. Here, we all know that the banker is going to charge the interest over the amount which is due against the banker. Here, or you can say the banker is going to charge the interest on the loan amount granted by the banker to the customer. Here, as you all know that we as a customer, we are depositing our money with the banker with lots of trust, and it is the duty of the banker to maintain this trust, and the banker is going to pay us the interest. On different types of account, the rate of interest is different. On current account, you can say there is a minor interest, or it is not for interest earning source. For savings account, you may earn some interest. On the FD account, the interest rate is higher comparison to the savings account. So there is a different rate of interest for the different types of account. Similarly, here, what the banker is going to do, banker is going to pay us the amount of interest. Similarly, the banker is going to charge the amount of interest on the amount which is paid by a banker to the customer, or you can say on the loan amount. Yeah, suppose you have taken the overdraft facility, so on that amount, you have to pay the interest. Suppose for the current account, your balance is 9,000 rupees and you have withdrawn the amount of 11,000 rupees. So it means what you did, you have withdrawn excess 2,000 rupees from your current account. So on that 2,000 rupees, the banker is entitled to charge the interest. The banker is having the right to charge the interest. Here, second example, suppose you have taken a loan from the banker, and of course on that loan amount is the principal amount. On that principal amount, banker is going to charge you the interest. That interest rate is predetermined at the time of taking the loan. Here it may vary according to the market fluctuations or according to the forces of the market. So these all things are going to affect the rate of interest, but the banker is having the right to charge the interest. Yeah? Similarly, the banker is also having the right to charge the commissions if any functions done by the banker in behalf of you, if any activity done by the banker in behalf of you. For an example, we are going to take the example of suppose discounting of bills. In that situation, the discount is the commission for bank. Here, banker is going to discount your bills, and here the banker is having the right to deduct this discount, and this is the discount for you, and this is the income for the banker. Clear? Suppose the banker is going to charge you if you want the draft facility. Clear? What the banker is going to do, in behalf of you, the banker is going to prepare the draft, and on this preparation of the draft, the banker may charge you some of the commissions. Clear? Suppose some advice is given by the banker, you want to share your shares, but if you don't want that for what companies of the shares you want to purchase, or at what price the share should be sold. So if this types of advice is given by the banker to you, of course the banker is having the right to charge the interest. So this in this topic, what we are going to learn, that we are going to learn that the banker is having the right to charge the interest and commissions. Clear? The banker can also charge sometimes the compound interest also. So these all things we are going to learn here, that as a creditor, a banker has an implied right to charge the interest. What do you mean by implied right? Means implied right means it is understood. Clear? There is a no written agreement between the banker and customer that the banker is going to charge you the interest, but it is an implied right. Whether it is written or not, it may be written or it may not be written, but it is implied one. It is understood one that if you have taken a loan and any amount is due to the banker, then of course the banker is going to charge you the interest. So this is an implied right. Clear? There is a no need of explanation, there is a no need of written notice. Clear? As a creditor, the banker has the implied right to charge the interest on the loan amount granted to the customer. Clear? Whatever loan granted by the banker to you, on that amount the banker is having the implied right to charge the interest. As I said that the rate of interest may vary from time to time due to the market forces, but the right cannot be changed. In all the situation, the banker is having the right to charge the interest. In the some way, incidental charges. Here we are gonna talk about some of the charges also. Okay, sometimes the incidental charges also charged by the banker, like service charges, processing fees, appraisal charges, manual charges, may be imposed by the banker to the customer, and these types of charges are the rights of the banker. Suppose some of the bank are charging the passbook facility charge. If you want a new passbook, then you have to pay. That amount is a minor one, but of course you have to pay. So these types of charges are known as the incidental charges. Clear? Suppose of course, for an example, BOB is charging if you want the new passbook facility, and no entry is made in your account in the passbook from 3 months. Then if you want the new passbook, then of course the BOB is going to charge you. Yeah, that charge is not going to paid by you as a customer in the cash form. That charge and interest is going to be deducted, is going to be debited in your account directly. Clear? No need to pay the charges and interest in the form of cash. Clear? That charges will be debited in your account, and it is treated as a loan due. Clear? Suppose the loan taken by you is 1 lakh rupees. The interest on that loan is 10,000 rupees. So your loan which is due with interest is 1,10,000. It's not so that 1 lakh you have to pay in the cash form and the 10,000 that you can pay in any other form. What the banker is going to do, banker is going to debit your account with the amount of 1,10,000. Clear? Banker is not going to debit your account with amount of just 1 lakh rupees. That 10,000, that the amount of interest is also treated as a loan amount due, and that amount of charges is also treated as loan amount due. Banker is going to debit these charges from your account. So these types of right the banker is having. I have prepared a summary for you, that the bankers try to get the interest from you, the bankers try to get the commission from you, and the bankers try to deduct the incidental charges. Clear? The first thing is about the interest, that the bankers try to deduct the interest on all the outstanding amount. Clear? Whatever amount is outstanding to pay to the banker, on that amount the banker is having the right to charge the interest. The second one is about the commissions. Whenever bank perform as an agent of the customer, when the banker called the agent of the customer, we already discussed this point on the chapter number 1, that the general relationship between the banker and customer. Whenever a banker is going to perform any duty in behalf of the customer, in that situation, the banker is called the agent of the customer. And for this agency functions, for this agency services, there is a legal right to the banker to charge a commission. The banker may charge you. If the banker is not going to charge you, so this is some of the extra facility will be given by the customer, will be given by the banker to the customer to increase the level of customer satisfaction. But the banker is also having the right to charge you the commission. If banker is going to charge you for these types of activity, so you as a customer cannot file the claim on the court against the banker. Why? Because the banker is having the right to charge this type of commission from you. While collecting the check or accepting the check in behalf of you, while paying the bill of exchanges in behalf of you, these all are the example that in that situation the banker can charge the commission. I hope it is understand. The next is about the incidental charges. Sometimes some incidental charges charged by the banker from you. I have given you the practical example of the passbook. Yeah? If you want the new passbook, so some of the banks are charging the charges and some of the banks are not charging the charges. In some of the banks, the passbook facilities is not available. They are going to provide you the e-statements. Clear? They are not going to provide you the passbook. So it differ from bank to bank. Clear? Your experience of some of the bank is different. For example, here Kotak Bank is not providing the passbook facility to the customer. They are providing just the e-statement facility. They are going to send you the monthly e-statement, or if you want the statement for any particular time period, so they are going to send you the statement for that particular time period. So these types of facility is given by some of the banks. BOP is going to charge the interest for the ATM. So these charges may differ from the rules and regulations of the bank to bank. Clear? Now, if the bank is going to charge you these types of charges, so or you can say that if the bank is going to debit these types of charges from your account, so you as a customer cannot claim against the banker. Why? Because the banker is having the right to charge you these types of interest and commission and incidental charges. If banker is not charging you, so it is the extra facility given by the banker due to the increased level of competition and to attract you to grab the customer. But if the banker is going to charge you, so you cannot file the claim. So it is very, very simple that the banker is having the right, the banker is having the right to charge the interest, commission and incidental charges from the account of the customer. The next point that we are going to discuss is a banker's obligation to honor the check. Till now we discussed about the banker's right. That first we discussed about the banker's right of lion. Then we discussed the banker's right of appropriation of payment. Then we discussed about the banker's right to set up the accounts. Then we discussed about the banker's right to charge the interest and commission from the account of the customer. So these all the rights we are discussed about the bankers. Clear that the banker is having this all the rights. So with the rights, the banker is also having some of the obligations towards the customer. So now we are going to discuss about some of the obligations. So the first obligation is about banker's obligation to honor the check. Here, it is the duty of the banker to honor the check which is presented by the customer. The banker is under the legal obligation, or you can say under the statutory obligation to honor the check which the drawn by the customer. But the banker is under this obligation if some of the conditions are fulfilled, then only, otherwise not. So if these 4 conditions are fulfilled that you can see on the screen, then the banker is under the obligation, under the legal obligation to honor the check. If any of the condition is not fulfilled, then the banker is not under the legal obligation to honor the check. So what are the conditions? So first condition is that the check must be drawn in a proper form. So what do you mean by proper form? So in India, as you know that the check is applicable only and only in a printed form which is given by bank to you the customer. So the check must be in that printed form. All the details must be filled rightly according to the terms and condition to fill the check. Clear? The signature must be made. All the details must be filled properly. So these all are the basic condition to write the check, to draw the check. So these all condition must be fulfilled. That date must be returned. Signature must be similar to the specimen signature. Amount in the digit and amount in words must be same. Crossing must be proper one. Clear? So these all the things must be this all things mean this all the condition must be fulfilled. Then only you can say that you have drawn a check in a proper form. So first condition that it should be drawn in a proper form. If any of this condition is not fulfilled, then banker is not in the obligation to pass your check or to honor your check. Suppose the specimen signature with the signature on check is not similar, so the banker cannot pass your check. Suppose you forgot to write the date on the check, so the banker is not in the obligation to honor the check. So these all are the basic condition to write the check, and this basic condition must be fulfilled. So you can say that you have drawn the check in a proper form. The first condition is that the check must be drawn in a proper form. The second condition is that there must be a sufficient balance in the account of the customer from which the check is going to be deducted. Clear? The amount on which they are drawn is in credit to an amount sufficient to pay them, or the arrangement must be made to that the overdraft facility arrangement must be there in the account of the customer. Suppose you have written a check from your current account, so of course in the current account overdraft facility is available, so the check must be drawn under the limit of the overdraft facility. Check should not be drawn over the limit of the overdraft facility. If you have drawn any check over the limit of the overdraft facility, then banker is not in the obligation to honor your check. The check must be returned under the limit of the overdraft facility if no sufficient balance is there in the account. So two conditions are there. First condition is there must be a sufficient balance, and if there is no sufficient balance in the account, so there must be facility of overdraft, and if this is so, then the check must be passed under the limit of the overdraft. Clear? Suppose the overdraft limit of your account is 10,000 rupees, and the excess balance that you have wrought on a check is 11,000 rupees. So the banker is not under the obligation to pass your check. Why? Because your check exceeds the overdraft limit, and the banker cannot grant you the overdraft for 11,000 rupees. The banker can grant you the overdraft only for the 10,000 rupees. So if there is no sufficient balance, so there must be appropriate provision to provide the fund to pass the check. If there is no appropriation arrangement, then the banker is not in the obligation to honor your check, or you can say to pass your check. The next is there should be no legal cause. Here legal cause means we are talking especially about the garnishee order. Here there should not be any garnishee order on the account of the customer. Why? Because garnishee order is the order of court passed on the account of the customer. So if there is a balance available in the account of the customer, even though the customer is not free to use that balance. Suppose the savings account is having the balance of 10,000 rupees, but if the garnishee order is served on that account because of any reason, so the banker is the customer is not free to use the 10,000 rupees. Yeah, why? Because the claim is filed in the court against the balance of the customer. So till the case is not done, then till that time the customer cannot use the balance of account. So there should not be this type of any legal cause. So only then the banker can pass your check. The fourth is it should be presented during the banking hours. Here, if you want to present the check with after the banking hours or before the banking hours, so the banker is not in the obligation to pass your check. It is compulsory that you have to present the check between the during the banking hours and at appropriate place also. Clear? Appropriate place means it should be the bank or the bank branch. You cannot present the check at any place. Here you cannot present the check at any other than the bank or bank branch. Here you have to present the check in the premises of bank only, here or at the counter only. Otherwise, the banker is not in the obligation to honor the check. Suppose during the banking hours you cannot visit the home of the banker to pass the check. Here, even if the banker is your friend, then also the banker is not in the obligation to pass your check. Why? Because you have not presented the check at the bank or at the bank branch. So it must be presented during the banking hours, or it must be presented at appropriate place. Then only the banker is in the obligation to pass your check. So which are the conditions that must be fulfilled? So the first condition is it must be drawn in a proper form. So here we are talking about check. So there are certain conditions to write the check. Clear that all the conditions must be fulfilled clearly. Date must be clearly written. Clear. The amount must be similar to the amount which is written in the digit and in the word. Both the amounts should be similar. The name of the payee must be certain, and the signature must be similar with the specimen signature. The crossing must be certain and it should be understood by the banker. The endorsement must be in the order. Clear? So these all things that we have discussed in the first year about the meaning of endorsement, about the meaning of crossing. So these all are the basic rules to write the check. So these all the basic rules to write the check must be fulfilled clearly. Then only the banker is in the obligation to draw the check, to pass the check which is drawn by you. I hope it is clear. The first condition, you have drawn. Drawn means you have presented the check. You have written the check. Clear? You are the drawer, and the banker is the drawer, and the person whose name is written on the check is known as the payee. Three parties are there of the check. I hope you are all are familiar with this word. Clear? Drawer means the customer who wrote the check. Drawee means the banker, and the payee means the person who is going to receive the amount of the check, whose name is written on the check. Clear? So these three parties are there, and you have drawn the check. So the banker is in the obligation to pass your check only and only if you have written in a proper manner. The second condition is that there must be a sufficient balance in your account to deduct the balance of the check. Here, suppose you have wrote the check of 10,000 rupees and there is a balance of 15,000 in the account of you. So of course the banker is under the obligation to pass your check. But if there is no obligation, suppose you are having a savings account and you wrote the check of 10,000 and in the account you are having the balance of only 7,000 rupees. So, in that situation, the banker may reject your check due to the reason of insufficient fund or insufficient balance. So, I hope it is clear. The next one is about there should not be any legal cause to reject the check. There should not be any legal reason you can say to reject your check. Here, one of the best example of the legal reason is about the garnishee order. Here, garnishee order is the order of the court, and if this type of order is received by the banker, so here the banker cannot use the fund which is available in your account. Even you, as the owner of the account, as a customer of the bank, cannot use the balance of your account. So here the banker can reject the check which is drawn by you on the legal cause, on the basis of legal cause, and that legal cause may be the court order or maybe the garnishee order. So there should not be such type of legal cause. The next one is you have to present the check during the banking hours only and at a banking place only. Here, if you want to present the check before the banking hours or after the banking hours, the banker is not under the obligation to accept your check. The banker may deny to accept your check before the banking hours and after the banking hours. Here, so and second thing, you have to present the check at the banking place only. Here, that place must be bank or the bank branch. You cannot present the check at any place. You have to present this check at the banking premises only. So these all are the basic conditions that must be fulfilled. If these conditions are fulfilled, then of course the banker is under the obligation to honor the check.